Hi everybody, it has been a while. I really was pleased with the outcome of my last video and the responses that I got because I was so scared to even film that video. If you haven't seen it, links below. If I sound a little weird, it's because I'm getting sick. And I'm actually okay with it because I haven't been sick in like I haven't been sick this entire year. Like, not normal people sick, like not diabetes related sick, but like normal get a cold every now and then, which I used to get at least 10 times a year, and I've gone a whole almost a year without having anything wrong with me. So okay, so as you could tell by the title of this video, I needed to sit down and just be like really honest with you guys, and it makes me nervous because of the reason why you guys even watch my channel, which is probably because you might be struggling with a chronic illness, type 1 diabetes maybe specifically, or something else, and you, at least from what you guys tell me in your messages and your comments, find some sort of like comfort and support in me. And so that's why I guess I haven't really been posting as much as I used to, because I've just been feeling like I don't have the right to be that person for you right now. So the honest to God truth is that I have not seen an endo for probably almost 2 years at this point. 2 years ago, I was seeing doctors left and right for every reason possible. It was just like constantly going to appointments, and this is too hard. Sorry, I had to move inside because I was just really aware of all the people walking past who I know are probably not even paying attention and couldn't hear me. But so, like I was saying, around 2 years ago, I was constantly going to doctor's appointments, whether it was for my stomach or my vertigo, my heart, diabetes, my mental health. It was just constant. And at the time, it was so much. And I almost like took it for granted that I had all these different outlets available to me to help me, because I was so frustrated and felt like nothing was making me feel better. And at this time I was obviously living in Albuquerque with my parents, living, with them in their home and having their support constantly and having them to take me to doctors and organize things for me. And I just felt this sense of like helplessness and having just no control over my own life, that when it came time for me to move to Portland, I was like, see ya, like I'm just gonna ignore everything that was my life and just be my own independent person, regardless of how that affects my health, because I wanted a break from everything. I did establish some doctors in Portland who were great. I think the healthcare system in Oregon is just like above everything else. It's amazing. So, but on top of that, I was still really reluctant to book appointments. I went to the doctor a lot there, mostly because of like random illnesses and emergency room visits and whatnot, because of me just not taking very good care of my body, because I was like, hey, I'm in this city by myself and I feel free, I feel like an adult. I didn't go like away for college or anything, so this is like my first time really being out and on my own, and I just neglected so many things. And on top of that, I was always working because I wanted to live like in one of the more expensive places, and as a result made it so that I was always working. I really liked my GP there. She was really sweet and she was very competent. And she would always mention like I need to call an endo. She was referring me to places and I just never got around to it. God, I hate even saying this. The last time my A1C was checked was by my general practitioner, and she didn't have like an actual A1C checker machine or whatever those things are called. So she did like a quick blood test, and her machine only said that it couldn't go above 9.4. So it basically said mine was at least 9.4, maybe higher, but it didn't read above that. So I'm guessing it was much higher than that. I mean, even if it had been 9.4, that would not have been good. I've never had an A1C that high, except for when I was diagnosed, it was like 13. I used to be so proud of myself for my A1Cs. I used to be always in the sixes. Um, and it, like, I can't explain it, but I feel like when I was so perfect, it was like other things in my life weren't doing very well. Like, yeah, my A1C was great, but I was really restricting my eating. I was severely underweight. I had a lot of low blood sugars because I was so afraid of having high blood sugars. I felt like I was always over bolusing. Um, and it was just like, I felt so stuck. I felt so controlled by my disease, and I felt like not a real person anymore. And so, as a result, I did the exact opposite and made this drastic change to just kind of like, you know, control my diabetes enough that like I'm not going to drop dead anytime soon, hopefully, but not enough where I'm not going to have issues probably later on in life. Um, I will say though that when I did hear that my A1C was at least 9.4, I did make some changes and I have been doing better. So I would bet that if I was tested today, it would be better. I know it would be. And that also comes from living with Mikey because he's also a type 1. And believe it or not, seeing him do his injections and check his sugar is like a reminder every day, like, oh yeah, like I gotta do that too. I know that sounds silly because it's like I'm old enough to know that that's what I need to be doing, but it's so easy to become so wrapped up in life that you just push it away as far as possible. And now I found myself in a really sticky situation because I'm in Florida where I don't know how to say this. I don't want to offend anyone, but I feel like people here, especially in healthcare, are a lot more reserved and conservative and more like straight to the point. And it's really hard to find somebody who I can speak to who I feel actually cares about my health and also who can take my insurance because that's another issue. I have insurance that was easily accepted in Oregon and they just really didn't make a big deal out of it. But here it's like nobody takes it. And as soon as they hear that you're paying out of pocket, if you have to, which I have done, they're like, oh, we're not going to invest our time in you. Just like an in and out kind of thing. Give me a prescription for insulin because obviously I need it or I will die. And then just kind of ignore my other medications and things that I'm on because they don't, I don't want to say they don't care, but they act like they don't care. I used to use this channel as something to hold me accountable for taking care of myself. And I guess I thought it just, if I post less, then people don't have to look up to me as much. I thought if I made the second channel, the Type 1 Love channel with Mikey, it would make us both more accountable, but we've just kind of like thrown it to the wayside because he is working so much now and I'm not working, I'm just doing school, which means I have more time to film, but I want to only do diabetes related videos for the most part on that channel and want to do more like Elise videos on this channel, which I just don't even know what I'm doing anymore, to be honest. A little stuck, you guys. So my health is not the best. I still deal with vertigo, stomach pains. Sometimes I can barely get in a car for 5 minutes without wanting to puke my brains out. So we're kind of taking the route of possibly going to the Mayo Clinic. Something that I was looking into a couple years ago and ended up not doing it because I did that whole like, you know what, I'm just gonna pretend like I'm not sick and I'm just gonna live a normal 20-something-year-old life and just see how that goes. And it went okay for a year and now my body hates me. That is definitely an option. I feel like if I have any major issues I need to address with a doctor, it all has to be back in New Mexico, which means my parents or somehow if I can come up with the money I'm gonna fly home and just have appointments there when possible with people who I've already established with. Because it's just not working out here. And I really took it for granted that I had it all available to me. And it's just so, oh my God, it's so hard here, guys. I've seen a couple doctors and every single one is just like really rude and like emotionless. And I'm a very emotional person. After my amazing pediatric endocrinologist, the first adult endo I saw was just a very, not emotional, she was very strict. She made me cry on several occasions, to which my parents would literally tell her, stop talking right now, she's crying, maybe we can resume when she's done crying, because she made me feel so guilty about my blood sugars, even though at that point they were actually very good. And that's kind of when things went downhill for me in terms of my diabetic health. After that, I saw an amazing endocrinologist, and I made a video about that. I'll link that in the description below too, because it's so rare that you find a doctor that you click with, and especially when it comes to endocrinology and needing someone who understands your emotions and doesn't shame you for what you're going through, but is also stern enough to help you get yourself into shape. It's something that's really hard to find. So, and because I was just so sick of doctor's appointments, I took for granted that I had her. When I first started making videos about diabetes, there were a couple other channels dedicated to diabetes, but it wasn't a lot, you know, and that's why I wanted to put out this content. Since then, so many great channels have popped up. I've noticed most of them are females. It'd be cool to see a couple male YouTubers talk about their diabetes experience, just because I get questions from people who could probably benefit from a male perspective, and then I usually just send them to Mikey's Instagram. I'm like, hey, you can message him, he'll be open to answering anything you want to know. But since all these channels have popped up, I just realized they're so much better than what I could have ever hoped to create for you guys. So many of these new YouTubers are so much more dedicated to trying new things out for you guys, and to being their healthiest self, and to making everything diabetes related, and to keeping up with posting. And it just feels so unfair for me to just sit here and make these videos and feel like I have anything to say, I guess, that they haven't already said or I haven't already said. Which is why I keep trying to make videos of other content that's more my own style, but I don't get a lot of people viewing those videos, if that makes sense. So, down below, I'm going to link a few different channels of people whose videos I've watched recently that are just so on par with their editing, how often they post, everything that like I hoped I could have been, but I've just kind of I haven't been determined or strong enough lately to do. And I do this with so much love, you guys. I'm so grateful that people have started talking about this more online. I am so grateful that it's not become that it's not as weird, you know, that it's not like people have to feel so ostracized anymore. I'm so glad that there are all these different channels of different people's opinions, like just besides mine are Diabetic Danica's, and which, by the way, Diabetic Danica is like, she's so amazing. I aspired to be that once, but I just can't because it's not me. And kudos to her for all she's done for our community. And I'm just so glad that like this new generation of newly diagnosed people will have so much information out there so they don't feel alone. I could use any supportive messages you want to send my way, comments below, remind me that I am okay. I promise you guys that I am going to find an endo, and I'm going to get my A1C checked, and I'm going to make adjustments, and I'm going to be the healthiest version of myself that I possibly can be. And I will be someone again who you guys can, I don't know, look up to, or at least feel comfortable asking me questions about my experience. Alright, you guys, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give this a thumbs up so that I know you guys are still out there watching me. Leave a comment below, literally telling me anything. I don't care. Tell me how your day was. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because there will be more content on this channel. Don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm sure it'll be fun, and I would love for you to see it and comment what you want to see, maybe. Links to my social media are down below. I love you guys.